Let the fish catching begin.
This guy hasn't slipped this year. He's ninth in the
20
Angler of the
seconds.
Year race. Gerald Sporer. We got 10 seconds until lines end. Day number 2 on the St. Lawrence River. We'll see if it's a smallmouth smash fest, as day 1 certainly was.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lines in, period 1.
Marty, I think we're going to see a lot of Grundon's rain gear today.
It's going to be put to the test.
Man, that looks good. That Grundon's gear. I'm sure Sporer's got his, probably doesn't have the C-knit shoes on. I would imagine. You think he's gone for the boots today, JT? A little sturdier wear on the feet?
I would think so.
What a great year Gerald Sporer has had. He's had 2 top 10s on the Bass Pro Tour this year. May have taken him a season or so to figure out the Major League Fishing format, but he is really beginning to thrive in it.
I think he still does have the C-knit shoes on.
Yeah.
I would be wearing my 6-inch Deck Boss ones myself.
Gerald, can you talk about where you started today? We are live.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily my favorite spot, but I caught several fish here in practice. This is a good shoal that's holding fish, and I'm fishing real shallow with this marabou jig. And the only reason I started here because it's my first waypoint, and I'm basically going to go in order from here all the way to Clayton. And I got some places that have numbers, some places that have big ones with less bites. So I'm just going to kind of run everything in order. That way, when I get to the end of my waypoints, I can double back on stuff that was real good to me. So you just don't want to be skipping around. They may run away from me at first until I get to a spot with numbers, and then I'll catch back up. And it's but you got to follow the process for sure. Then I got some bedding stuff that I can't wait to get to. That's why. But if I see a bed, I got the flogger ready to go.
Sporer this year finished 3rd, stage 1 in the championship round. That was his first top 10. Finished 9th overall on the Harris chain. He's qualified for both the Challenge Cup and the Heritage Cup already. He's in great shape to fish the red. I mean, this is one of those money-making kind of years for Gerald.
It is. Worst finish so far is 41st at the last event. That's just a solid day. Good start right here. Talked about 45 fish over 5 pounds. I think I left the desk numb at the number of 4-pound fish we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You almost, I think about it this way. Think of if we got numb to guys on largemouth fisheries catching 7-pounders. That's what we had yesterday with these smallmouth. How plentiful the St. Lawrence River is.
Come on, baby, give up.
That's a good way to start.
Good start right there. Uh-oh, hit my power pole switch right there. You ready?
Yes, sir. 4 pounds, 0 ounces.
Right off the bat.
Sporer fires the first 4-pound shot. Let's swing over to Luke Clausen. Already 11 anglers on the score tracker this morning, kind of like yesterday. Over to Sporer again.
Pounder. Better get back going and see if she bites.
Bigger. but they just don't come to the top, and a smallmouth almost always comes to the top. So you fight something that big for that long, it's probably a freshwater drum.
Back over to Gerald Sporer. We did not see anything but smallmouth caught yesterday. There were some largemouth.
There's a few. There's a lot of muskies in the St. Lawrence River. I've had a couple of run-ins with those too.
Score or not.
You get a smaller smallmouth like what Gerald's got there, and a 4-foot-long muskie decides he wants it more than you do.
And he will get it.
Oh yeah.
2 pounds, 0 ounces.
Ooh, perfect. 2-pounders doesn't look very big, but you gotta check them.
Brent Ayler yesterday called these bluegill.
Yeah.
Lost that bedfish. So
Gerald Sporer.
not very big, but he might score. I never tell in this current. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll score. Oh, good catch.
2 pounds, 3 ounces.
Little guy, but I'll take him. Another one on old Marabou.
Wasn't it Spore that in Sturgeon Bay was the first one we saw the Marabou jig last year?
Could have been.
Gary's Tackle Shop or something like that.
Good grief, settle down.
Here's a big thing to remember with Neil, too. Not only this points race here, but he's getting some game reps on the body of water that when he comes back here in a month, that's going to determine the AOY over there on the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit.
Michael Neal leads the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Angler of the Year race. He is 8th on the Bass Pro Tour. As Marty said, the Pro Circuit is going to visit the St. Lawrence River in its next stop.
Got your butt that time.
£3 pounds, 9 ounces.
Flogged that one up. So hard to do by yourself. If I could talk my boat official into holding the flogger for me, that'd be great.
Can we do that?
I don't know. You may have to revisit the rules.
It's usually a good team tournament deal.
Loose guidelines.
Real hard to do
Steve.
by yourself.
I'm in.
100 spot, they can get the man holding it. At least for half a day.
Well, I think the high stakes we have here on the Bass Pro Tour, you would have to at least give him $250, wouldn't you?
I think that's negotiable.
I think it's a percentage deal. 10% of the prize money.
Ooh, easy.
Sporer is in 6th. That was his 4th scoreable bass of the day. Marty, how many anglers have we heard already this week mention Aaron Martens?
Brent Ayler talking about the hooks, Ott Depot talking about boat position. I mean, that guy's in the back of everybody's mind, and every competitor out here right now is missing his presence dearly. I know we are here at the desk.
Sporer's had a good start. 5 scoreable bass for Gerald so far today.
And we were mentioning his Grundon's rain gear earlier. Speaking of rain, I think the weatherman kind of missed that shot this morning because it was supposed to rain every hour
Almost had you.
except for one today. And other than their run this morning, I don't think we've seen any rain.
And yesterday when we left the desk, we were expecting 20-mile-an-hour winds.
These anglers, at least so far, are getting a little reprieve.
2 pounds, 14 ounces.
All right. Nice little future giant. Ain't nothing but glorified crappie fishing. Sac-a-lait for my Louisiana friends.
Yesterday, Ayler was catching bluegill. Today, Spore's catching sac-a-lait.
It's the second time. Gary Klein said it's like fishing for crappie.
Only they're a lot bigger and pull a lot harder.
Eighth scoreable bass. It was a 2-2. And Connell has a near 8-pound lead over
1
John
hour to
Cox.
fill in the period.
Here's Sporer again.
A 2 3/4.
Two pounds, 10 ounces.
All right. Go back. Go back and make babies. Can't beat when you're fishing for, no one really likes messing with bedding fish, but we fish for them. But the best thing about our format is we let those fish go and they go right back to where they came from. And so it really protects the fishery.
£17,
I'm just
4
cutting a
ounces
little
so
piece
far
of-
for Gerald Sporer.
To throw this thing, the trick is it's impossible to throw unless you put a little piece of, that's a little piece of Missile 48, just a little piece of plastic. Put that on there like that, it helps you throw it better. Nothing fancy.
Working out so far for Sporer. 7 scoreable bass for nearly 21 pounds for Ott. He is in 6th. Gerald Sporer is in 7th.
Yeah, just moved from where I started. My starting spot was just supposed to be a place where I caught a couple. Ended up producing pretty good. And I got to, this spot was supposed to be a numbers hole. Haven't caught, oh, one just followed it right there. I haven't caught any yet. But I didn't realize there was another angler right in front of me. He might have went through this already. So I don't know if somebody hammered on it or not, but this is supposed to be a place where I was expecting to catch some numbers. I'm just going through, still swimming there, flogging these beds real fast and see if I see any. But this area, all the beds are empty for some reason. This group was a little bit further ahead. So I'm just following the process like I was saying earlier and just going from my one spot to the next. I'll give this about another 20 minutes. Hopefully it produces a few fish. If it does, I'll work on it until I got what I could off of it, and then I'm gonna move on to the next place. I got one place that's full of beds. I have fish all over them. I haven't even got to those yet. Trying to take my time and fish everything right. Don't get in a hurry. But if you hit one bad spot, dadgummit, Blew up that spinning reel. If you hit one bad spot, you get behind in a hurry. How in the heck did that just happen?
So JT, last night you were talking about with the flogger, depth perception and peripheral vision that you can see through that lens. And it's a little different with regard to each. You can see the depth perception a little better, but the width not so much.
Yeah, just seeing the fish, you can see what they're doing. You can see how they're reacting to their bait, to your bait. You can get them to bite your bait better with that. But it's very difficult to see the true size of the fish. And one of the reasons why is these St. Lawrence River smallmouth, they're not like a largemouth, as in a 10-pound largemouth is considerably longer than a 5-pound largemouth is. Well, here, a 6-pound smallmouth isn't much longer, if any, than a 4-pound smallmouth. And a 4-pounder may only be an inch longer than a 2 3/4 pounder. They just grow depth and width of the fish instead of length. So when you're looking down on...
Gerald Sporer is in 10th place. He caught 7 in that first period, JT.
Sporer made a pretty good run down the lake and started out really good. Got a 4-pounder on, I think it was either his first or second cast. He's been doing some sight fishing. He's had the flogger out, also catching some on the hair jig.
We check in on Gerald Sporer again.
Freaking giant.
That is a big one. Mm-hmm. I mean, a really big one.
Ready yet?
Wind's starting to gas a little bit, JT.
It is.
Gotcha. Goodness gracious. That was hard. But it was worth it. I couldn't see her with the flogger. Well, I could see her, but I couldn't hold the flogger steady. That's a 6-pounder.
It's Rocky. I want it to be right. £6, 0 ounces.
Damn, baby. 6-pounder on the bed. Woo! Go back to that bed. Oh, man, that was hard. The waves kept bouncing, the boat kept moving. Oh, my goodness. I knew she was a heavy hitter fish. That's why I was like, I'm going to try my hardest to catch her. I actually think I caught that fish in practice. Right here, just casting. And she was white in color with red eyes, so I knew she'd come off her bed when I caught her casting. And I found her. I came back and flogged it and found her. I was like, that's got to be her. Left her alone for 3 days. Caught her.
6-pounder for Sporer. He's at 32.10. He moves up from 10th place to 6th place. The biggest mover so far in this period. Let's check in on Sporer.
There you go.
Saw his 6-pounder a short time ago. Sporer mentioned heavy hitters, needing a heavy hitter's fish when he caught that 6-pounder. That's where we take your biggest fish from each stop on the Bass Pro Tour. qualify you for heavy hitters next year. Top 30 total weights when you take your biggest fish at each event. And they'll qualify for heavy hitters.
Come here.
Spore's in pretty good shape. He's 17th in the standings.
4 pounds, 10 ounces.
Another donk. Got a bad eye right there. Probably jammed it on a zebra mussel. I'm trying to do it all, but the bed fishing is starting to become unrealistic in this wind. I need to just keep this jig in my hand.
Talk about that heavy hitters. As an angler, if you're in good shape and we've got this run here, you want to leave almost every one of these events with a 5 pound something, largemouth, smallmouth, something.
Dustin Connell leads the heavy hitter standings. He's got a 6.5 here today.
I think and there were so many things last year that jumped off the page to me with Jordan Lee's great year. He not only won the 2 events,
He's messing with you
won
now.
the AOY, he also won heavy hitters as far as overall standings went.
Yeah, he won the standings and the event called heavy hitters.
Right. Some would say we call that domination complete.
Angler of the year.
It's from Gerald Sporer's boat. Looks like he has a little cheering section over there.
Got his whole pack of cheerleaders.
Interesting headgear that they're wearing.
Well, Spore was a sailor, right?
He was.
There you go. Told you it was his own personal entourage of cheerleaders.
They must have been from up north, too, as scantily clad as they were, and we see Gerald fully dressed in his Grundon's rain gear.
And he's from Louisiana. Think that it's getting ready to snow probably at this moment in time.
Gerald's one of the guys that's just been really doing a lot of his work with that little black jig. It's interesting, too, how these guys fish it up here is literally just throw it out and reel it in. You think of a little hair jig like that, that you would fish it on the bottom, kind of hop it along the bottom. And obviously, everybody just about that we saw Justin Lucas fishing it yesterday. Throw it out, let it sink a little bit to whatever desired depth you may think the fish are in, and just reel it back in.
And I thought Spore, when we were on him in Sturgeon Bay, though, and he was using the hair jig, so bought one of those locals up there, it was more about being on the bottom up there. Here, to your point, it seems like they just throw it out and wind it back in. Which one was yesterday that was using that little gentle as a trailer?
I believe that was Lucas.
Oh, dang it. I think he'll score.
1 pound, 13 ounces.
Dang it.
The double whammy.
It's dreaded.
Yeah.
Gerald was telling us this morning that he wasn't using, he was using something else, I think a missile something, that he wasn't using it as much as a trailer, as just a chunk of it slid up on the hook just for some weight so you could throw it a little bit easier. But I know Lucas was talking about, he was kind of doing the same thing, just he was using, of course, the max scent to get that scent dispersion out.
That little cut right there.
But that little black jig is definitely playing a role this week.
Must be a bachelorette party.
$39 of the best in the business, slugging it out on the St. Lawrence River and smashing them. Head to the final period. Gerald Sporer has dropped back a little bit. He is 13th, is Sporer, after being 10th at the start of that period, Mark.
Yeah, Sporer had a nice 20-pound period in the first period, 2011, and it followed it up with another 20 pounds. Just staying consistent. Sporer, though, has done a lot of his work on that black hair jig.
That was hard.
Sporer
But it was
sitting at 40 pounds even, 12 scoreable bass. Sporer over his shoulder right there. Lintner's in 9th, Sporer's in 7th. I'd say it's a good area.
You showed up and you started catching them, I stopped catching them. Man, I go through too many lulls where I'm not catching nothing. What? Pulled over by the cop. Did you get a ticket? Really?
That'll put a little niche in your giddy up, JT.
Well, Chad, I'm going to stay out of that one.
Or just invite him to the party as well. He will thank you, trust us. As we approach the 4th of July holiday, a couple of our veterans on the Bass Pro Tour, Randall Tharp and Gerald Sporer. Thanks to all of our veterans out there for what you do. How about Gerald Sporer? Well, this is another good event for Gerald Sporer. He's going to fish his 4th knockout round this year in 5 events on the Bass Pro Tour and keep himself in the Angler of the Year race. Gerald Sporer is over 100 pounds for his 2-day total. He's got 33 pounds, 4 ounces today, which is the best day of anybody. Gerald has moved up from 7th place to 2nd place. He's 16 pounds, 5 ounces now behind our leader, John Cox. Remember, first event this year, and he's having a great year as Sporer. First event this year, Sam Rayburn Reservoir. He won Group B there and auto qualified for the championship round.
If I'm not mistaken, he's got 2 top 10s going on a year. We talk about this points race. Let's not count him out yet. 7th overall in the points. Here on Score Tracker Insider, talking about a drop shot and that hair jig doing a lot of damage for Sporer this morning.
10 ounces.
I mean, Sporer, if he auto qualifies in, that's going to be his 3rd top 10 this year.
Really seems like he's coming into his own, doesn't it?
It does.
Gerald Sporer, what a day. He's got 36 pounds, JT.
He is flat on him. This is really entertaining to watch too, because the way this is setting up, I mean, he may be on pace for a record himself.
Very well could be. He's had success everywhere this year, has Bobby. He's only missed 1 knockout round. Here's Sporer. This was a couple of moments ago, just as we were getting the camera to Gerald. I beg your pardon. This is live. Got a camera in the boat with him. Sporer caught 69.6 on day 1. He was in 7th place coming in. And this was just as we were arriving on the scene to catch up with him. The 5.15 Sporer caught just a moment ago. Look at the Chaos crew, guys. Man, that is chaos. You got a smallmouth coming in, an angler with one hot, camera crew, and a boat coming in, and magic happens, JT.
A 515. Look at that beast.
Great job by our Chaos crew. We try to get you every single fish we possibly can. Whatever it takes, as long as it takes.
How about the smoothness of the camera operator, too? That camera never did waver at all as he was going from one boat to the next.
5:15. That's Mark Pellizzoni on the scene with the camera.
You remember we saw that in the Guggen squad, his kid the other day showing off a big one, too.
Mm-hmm. Now Dad's showing off.
Yes, he is.
Spore got the flogger going.
Saw the first day of competition. He did a lot of damage on a drop shot and also on a black hair jig. But this is no surprise. When we were up at Sturgeon Bay last year, Spore had a nice event up there as well. Louisiana angler adapting to these northern smallmouth. This will be his, if he can hang on, this is going to be his third top 10 if he gets that automatic bid.
This is shaping up to be a big year for Gerald. Otto qualified for the championship round, stage 1 at Sam Rayburn Reservoir when he won Group B. Stage 2, Lake Travis, finished 38th, made a knockout round, and finished 9th on the Harris Chain for his second top 10. He's qualified for
This is
two
really a
cup events
two-man
already.
technique. Very, very hard for one person.
Spore is 15 pounds, 14 ounces behind John Cox. 42.6 is his total for the day, including this 6-pounder that Spore caught in period 1. It is not the Berkley Big Bass of the day, though. Luke Clausen has that. He has a 6.3 today at the General Tire Stage 5, Messina, presented by Berkley. Little history lesson from Uncle JT there on a Monday.
You bit it.
Your Spore.
There we go.
£4, 0 ounces.
4-pounder. There's another one down there with her. It paired up. Go do your thing, buddy. That didn't take long.
Spore gets within 11 pounds, 14 ounces of the leader, John Cox.
I hadn't seen that one yet. Let's see if the other one's back on it. moving along.
So Spore's in second. Brian Thrift is in third.
Back to Spore. That's a difficult dance right there, Marty. Difficult, but effective.
And can these anglers do it in this kind of wind without these trolling motors and these anchoring systems we have now? No.
Nope. There's no way if you didn't have some kind of trolling motor anchoring system that you could do this. There's no way.
Not this wind.
Nope. Or this current. Even if it was flat calm, in this current, you couldn't do it.
In the mouth.
Yes, sir. £3, 6 ounces.
She was a lot of work. Fish wasn't hard. It's just hard maintaining the spot lock in this current, staying on her.
Puts him at almost 50 pounds for the day. Now Gerald Spore. From Spore, let's check in with our own Rob Newell.
Also, just wanted to point out, we came in here to stop on Brent Chapman. The clock's kind of ticking on him. You know, he came into this really good in the Angler of the Year race, and now the clock's kind of ticking for him to get this going to make a knockout round to kind of keep his pace in the Angler of the Year race. And it just seems to be, he gains ground and then the field catches him. And the irony of it is Brent Chapman's over that way about 50 yards, and right over this way about 50 yards is Gerald Spore, having the best day of the whole B group. And that right there is the feast and famine and the frustration of this whole sport out here with Major League Fishing. This guy, Brent's over here grinding for all he's worth, just trying to stay in the knockout round just so he can, you know, keep up with Angler of the Year. And meanwhile, over his shoulder, Spore's out here just wrecking them. And to, you know, just to see that paradox set up between two guys, depending on who you're rooting for, it's pain or pleasure.
Thank you, Rob. Jump back in with Spore.
A couple interesting facts right here, too. Spore's 9th overall in the points race. He's only 24 points behind Chapman.
He's up to 139 and 10 ounces. You're 19 pounds and 11 ounces back with 119 pounds, 15 ounces. Cut line is at 65 pounds, 9 ounces.
Well, my intentions were to just come out here and secure myself into the cut, and then I wanted to go practice because I need 2 or 3 more areas to really put some pressure on making the top 10 and having a chance to win. Don't quite have enough areas to stay busy all day. So I was hoping to go practice, but then I got real close to the leader and said, man, I really need to make an effort to catch him. And so I started hitting stuff that I was planning on leaving alone. And all I'm doing is beating up fish. So I told myself, this is one of my best areas right here. I said, let me go back there, hit it hard, and see if I can close the gap. If I can close the gap here, I'll keep doing it. If I can't close the gap here, then I'm going to practice. But it kind of got off this marabou jig for some reason. There's great conditions for it. But I just think we're beating them up. I mean, it's getting to the point now where they've seen this thing a lot.
Hey, a little sidebar too on Chapman. Newell said how close he was over there to Spoor. Last night at midnight, Chapman was washing the dog off. He'd gotten sprayed by a skunk.
Ooh, that is no good. A lot of skunks in this area of the country.
Talking about having a day go south on you.
Marty, you ever had an incident with a skunk before?
I've actually had 3 or 4 run-ins, and I mean, I had come within a matter of feet of it going south in a hurry.
I had a friend that had a skunk as a pet. It's a great animal.
Obviously,
super friendly.
Took away the scent or the
scent glands. Yes, they were removed.
Okay.
I've had a few run-ins with skunks myself. Their scent glands weren't removed. Stings the nostrils.
Every one of mine involved bow hunting and walking out late at night or late in the evening.
7-ounce bass, putting him in second place with 119 pounds and 15 ounces, and you're in third with 119 pounds and 2 ounces. You're now 23 pounds and 8 ounces behind the leader, John Cox.
How far am I over the cut?
20.
Plenty.
You're safe.
A little less than 60 pounds.
Yeah, so I'd say we're safe for that part, at least.
That would be a safe assumption.
Over to Gerald Sporer now, as Rambanis gets within one scoreable bass of being across the Toro cut line.
Well, that's a nice one. Nice 3.5 pounder.
3 pounds, 5 ounces.
Oh. Man, those fish, in practice, I caught them on this flat. So I'm kind of just practicing right now, but I caught them on this shallow flat. And they don't seem to be there anymore. I hadn't hit it since the first day of the tournament. And I said, let me just go back over there and try to fish maybe out a little more. See if I can relocate these fish. And that was a bite right there.
And on the St. Lawrence River. We shall see how it goes. It's been a great day for Gerald Sporer, Dustin Connell. Gerald Sporer having a day also. He sits at 53 pounds for the day. That is the third best day going.
Yeah, I think that was a 17-pound period there. Sporer made a run at it. I mean, he made a good run. I think he got within 11 pounds at one point in time. But just like yesterday, everybody was chasing down Jacob Wheeler. Now everybody's chasing down John Cox. Sometimes it's just a person in front of you where you go, you know what? Let's just let off the gas, save these fish, let them rest today, come back knockout round what you want to see. Sporer, though, with another strong knockout round and still relative in the AOY race.
Already 2 top 10s this year for Sporer and looking strong, maybe to go to another one. Gerald Sporer is already on the board with a 3:14. He's trying to make his 3rd championship round in 5 events this year. Gerald Sporer has caught his 2nd of the day. He's in 2nd place behind Jeff Sprague. 2 of our veterans up there on the top of the score tracker. Got Army and Navy. Sprague and Sporer. Ish Monroe sitting in 8th place. Everybody looking up at Gerald Sporer, who's trying to make yet another championship round. It would be his 3rd this season already on the Bass Pro Tour. Have to stay on the U.S. side of the river on the Uncle Sam Tour?
So you didn't have to before, I'm sure. Now with the weird restrictions that there are in this area that you do.
This is Gerald Sporer. He's been in and out of the lead early in the first hour of the day. Boat-to-boat look at Sporer.
Saw him using the flogger.
He's made pretty effective use of that flogger this week, has Sporer. That is a 3:13, and Sporer goes back to the lead. That's his 6th scoreable bass of the day. Sporer by 3 ounces over Jordan Lee. And he's got about 9 pounds above the Toro cut line.
He had one hiccup, and that was our last event. If it wouldn't, I'm not so sure if he's not the top 2 or 3 in the points tonight overall.
Green guy.
Here's boat to boat with the leader, Gerald Sporer. Although Scroggins and Jordan Lee are both closing in on him, and Brandon Coulter is within a scoreable bass also of Gerald. Another good one here. I think we had a slight touch there, Marty.
Very slight.
But we're a long way away. Believe that one is 3:13 for Sporer. So he's got 7. His biggest is 4.9. And his lead is 1 pound, 10 ounces over Scroggins, 113 over Jordan Lee.
Now Gerald Sporer again.
£4 pounds for Sporer. That has him in 3rd place. He needs a cool drink of water. Scroggins 36.13, nearly 2 pounds above the Toro cut line. Gerald Sporer had the lead a good deal of that first period. He's up in 5th place.
Sporer's in an area where a couple of other anglers are too, and all of them are doing good. It's an area that's just infested with spawning smallmouth. We saw him have the flogger out a little bit as well, and just really catching all these fish. Most of them on a drop shot, but all of them are about 8 to 10 feet deep.
Sporer 5th. But we're also going to keep an eye on the Angler of the Year race because it's a critical day. Ott Defoe is at the top of the chart. You know that Wheeler, who is 3rd, is going to get at least 70 points. And there's Brent Ehrler. He's sitting in 2nd place in the race. He's at the top of the score tracker today. So amongst guys who are still within striking distance, Wheeler's already in the championship round. It's Ehrler and it is Gerald Sporer. Gerald Sporer's having a great year, Marty. He's got a chance here today to make his third Bass Pro Tour Championship round this season.
Yeah, and other than the last event we just had, he had the one hiccup where he didn't make the knockout round. And right now he's coming in 9th place in the AOY, so he's holding serve as well. This is a big deal for Sporer and Ott Defoe.
He's exactly 5 pounds above the Toro cut line. In the boat with Gerald Sporer now, second place angler, having another good morning, trying to make his third top 10 of the season.
Ooh. I don't know the score, but I watched that fish follow it, and I dropped it, and he ate it. Need some pliers. I'll take that little sucker. First one on the marabou jig this morning. Everything else I've been catching has been on beds.
Sporer gets back up to second place. And we check in with Sporer.
Big one. Didn't have to get the flogger out for this one. Come here. In the mouth.
In the mouth.
Big girl. Never hooked good. Yeah, probably 5-pounder.
5 pounds, 0 ounces.
5 on the dot. Bam. Go back to your bed, buddy.
So Sporer gets within 10-13 of the
A lot of
lead.
these beds I marked in practice, but a lot of them I caught today, I marked when I opted not to chase John Cox down. I went and practiced and I found a lot of new beds. Come here. God.
Ooh. Tough loss for Sporer.
9 ounces back.
hit it.
And from Spoyer,
Hard stopping time.
what I can also confirm as we go back over with Gerald Sporer is this won't last very long.
Okay.
It looks like there's two cells coming from the kind of from the west, and it looks like they should pass through pretty quick. But one of them does have a little bit of red in it, which indicates some lightning. The Sporer's hooked up, so we want to keep our anglers,
following me
our
around.
officials safe.
God! What is the deal?
So Sporer gets back in. It's as though the bass said, you know what, I think I'll go back up there and let him get that hook out for me. All good now.
7 ounces, 4 pounds, 7.
Skeet Reese maintaining his spot in second. We check in again with Gerald Sporer.
Y'all ain't playing with me today. In the mouth.
In the mouth. Four pounds, 4 ounces.
Come on, baby. As long as I don't lose them. I lost a lot of fish today. Switch back to an old school drop shot hook. I had a straight shank on here and just kept losing them. Guess it's the way they're eating them. Usually when you get them on this little bitty octopus hook, you got them right in the nose. So I like my odds better.
And the last man in is this man, Gerald Sporer.
Ooh, don't go back there. Come here. Come here. Pounder.
4 pounds, 5 ounces.
We catching them, baby. That's a new one. I didn't have that one marked. It's so clear and calm right now. You really don't even need the flogger.
Oh, they're flogging
Saw
them
her
all
sitting
right.
there.
Yeah.
I think everybody's using a flogger.
I think when the day's done, they're going to tell you they were just in utter disbelief.
That got Jordan Lee within 9 pounds. 8-14 officially. And here's Sporer again.
Jesus Christ, you're crazy.
In the mouth.
In the mouth. Another 4-pounder.
3 pounds, 11 ounces.
Solid fish.
.311 for Sporer, but he actually just dropped a spot.
I think it was Defoe caught one that
It was.
jumped back over him.
Defoe caught a 2.8. He's right. He does have to keep catching them. And Jeff Sprague getting closer to his 9th Bass Pro Tour
Caught him
Championship round. Fishing in his 17th knockout round. Here's Sporer, who's trying to make his 3rd championship round in 5 events this season.
Starting to put all the pieces together out here now.
So Alton Jones Jr.'s last 4-pounder adjusted the Toro cut line quite a bit. Ott Defoe is 8th. He's in. Fletcher Shryock is the first man out, but he is 8 pounds, 11 ounces back now.
Ready yet?
Have we seen our final crossing of
No.
the Toro cut line?
No.
Okay.
Too much time. There's 2 hours left.
It's in the mouth.
He wasn't even on the bed.
Oh, he wasn't.
I just saw him swimming by and I just let him. I just let him out and he ate it.
4 pounds, 7 ounces.
Man, it seems like you just can't catch him fast enough. The guys are blasting on him. Every time I catch one, I don't move.
JT, he's
Can't
wearing
miss
out his
nothing.
Grundon C-knit shoes just climbing up
It's
onto
so
the deck of
calm
the
and
boat
slick.
and back.
You can see so good right now, and they're going to
This is
freaking catch
crazy.
him when it's like this.
It appears as though he has a little more subdued color on his Grundon C-knits than normal.
Dude, I got to have a bunch of...
Gerald Sporer is the last man in by 1 pound, 9 ounces over Adrian Avina. Have we not watched him catch like 50 pounds in the last hour, and he's barely in?
Come on, baby, don't lose her.
Sporer's caught 30 pounds since we restarted after the weather delay.
And it's not barely enough.
I done did this with fish like you before. I'm not going to let you drag me down current without me going with you. Got you. In the mouth.
£5 pounds, 0 ounces.
5-pounder. Yeah, I lost that fish just now. I didn't know how to get her to bite again, and she bit again. But it burned like 10 minutes. And that's something we can't have happening right now. Can't lose any time.
So Sporer is now 13 ounces out, but hold that thought.
Now.
Now.
I got a mess. Just too fast and too furious. All my bubble pliers all tangled up in fishing line. Jeez. Freaking flogger rolling around.
3 pounds, 5 ounces.
This is stressful. Man, I can't catch them fast enough. I don't know how you can catch them any faster. And I can't make any ground up. I'm gonna have to make sure my fish are getting entered.
I gotta get over and get my desired, sir.
We got an eye on it for you, Gerald. He is back in with that 3.5. In fact, he's 7th. Ott Defo now 8th, and Adrian Avena is 10 ounces out.
How's that everybody being above 100 pounds looking?
Pro cut line now. What a great day it's been for this guy as we look at the favorite fishing drone cam and Bradley Roy.
That's Sporer.
Nope, that's Gerald Sporer.
They're all Sporer, Sprague, and Roy are all within a half a mile area of each other.
I just saw that fish eat the bait off the bed on the drone. That was freaking awesome. I mean, that's cool.
You're hypnotized by this.
I am. I can't help it. This is cool.
You can still see the spot out there.
We will be at this desk another 10 years going, you remember back when?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's just one of the, I've never seen anything like this.
With the coverage and the records and the pace and all those things. So Sporer with another one. That's a 3.13 for Sporer, puts him in 6th
Period,
place.
better end soon. I don't know how much longer my health can handle this. Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
He's on a 44-pound period.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Dare I mention we're right in the middle of a major feed, which I think we've been right in the middle of one all day. But this afternoon,
we've been in the middle of one for about 5 days. We move back to Gerald Sporer. He started this period in 12th place.
Must be a new one. Good girl.
£4 pounds, 2 ounces.
So when we had our weather shutdown, Gerald Sporer had 52 pounds, 12 ounces. Since then, he has caught 52 pounds and 15 ounces. So since we restarted, that's an hour and 50 minutes ago, he has doubled his weight total prior to that here. And he's our second angler over 100 pounds. 55 minutes left in the day.
Good one. Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet?
In the mouth.
In the mouth, in the mouth.
£4 pounds, 10 ounces.
Man, they are freaking biting.
That's nearly 57
You see one
pounds
right now?
since we
It's a
restarted.
one flip deal. It's so calm and so slick. We have so much visibility. That's why everybody's lighting them up right now.
He's 412 off the lead now, is Sporer. So our previous knockout round weight record was 103 pounds set by Mark Daniels Jr. last year at Sturgeon Bay. We have 4 anglers who have passed that today.
Golly, this
We
fish has
shift
got
into
my
the
number.
Toyota Overdrive with Gerald Sporer.
I'm gonna name this one Psycho. Because he sure is psycho. Got it. In the mouth.
In the mouth.
I lost this sucker 3 times.
£4 pounds, 0 ounces.
That sucker. He made me earn it.
It's going to be 3 championship rounds in 5 events this season on the Bass Pro Tour for Gerald Sporer. And he's only 215 off the lead with 30 minutes left. 14 pounds, 7 ounces below the Toro cut line. Gerald Sporer is one good one away from taking the lead.
Why not?
He was 12th when we restarted after the weather delay. I mean, he's going on 70 pounds in the last 2 hours and 50 minutes, which is what we had when we restarted.
Saw Bertrand do that first day, first period.
In the mouth.
£4 pounds, 8 ounces.
Bro, this spot is freaking loaded. Loaded. I go about 10 feet and there's another 4-pounder.
Sporer on
Man.
top.
We
122
screwed up
pounds
the
and 9
second period.
ounces.
End of round.
Bam! First place on the St. Lawrence River. But tomorrow's what really matters. Oh man, that was a tough second period. I went to 2-3 areas where they weren't biting, and came back to where I started. We had that storm come through, and it got slick and sunny, and I was able to see everything that was here in this area. And there's just 4-pounders everywhere, and I just went through and just plucked them off one at a time. And I think I had 56 pounds before the end of that period started. So we put more than doubled my weight in that last couple hours. So pumped up about it. And third top 10 this year out of 5 tournaments. We're right in the hunt for Angler of the Year. Won another round. It's a great season. Grateful, feeling blessed.
Man, that's well said by Gerald Sporer. He caught 78 pounds after the rain delay, and he wins the knockout round. Gerald Sporer, you heard him say it himself. He's going to fish his 3rd championship round in 5 Bass Pro Tour stops this year. What a season, and he is still very relevant in that Angler of the Year race.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that was a 78
78. That's
period.
exactly right. He was at 52.12.
I'm not so sure that's not a record for a single
But
period.
we had an extra 20 minutes because of the weather tacked on in the 3rd period.
Who cares? We're keeping up with the records. We'll call it what we want.
It's impossible. We've broken them all and reset them, and we still got another day. But what a day for Gerald Sporer.
Pretty much a mix between drop shot, and just a little Ned style bait. You know, just pretty much anything. The Ned was just to get it on the bottom. What got me here was the marabou jig, but today I didn't. Today I bed fished because it was calm. You couldn't really bed fish that much the days that I went out because it was too windy, unless you was flogging. I caught some flogging, but it was tough. When it's slick like this, you can just go around and pluck them off. But mostly drop shot, Ned bait, and just all bed fishing, really.
Messina. It's full flex for Gerald Sporer, at least it was yesterday. He won the knockout round. The flogging that has been so productive. Gerald Sporer yesterday was doing it all day long. He won the knockout round. But as Rob said, if it's cloudy and windy, choppy out there, JT, you can't even get down there and use that flogger very effectively. Well, we check in for the first time today with the knockout round winner, Gerald Sporer, in his 3rd championship round in 5 events this year on the Bass Pro Tour. He's probably going to need all of that Grunden's gear that he's got on today, and a jacket at some point. Caught nearly 80 pounds in the final period of the knockout round to go from outside in 12th place to the win yesterday. In less than 3 hours, he did all that. His only stumble this year was missing the knockout round in our last event at Chickamauga, or he'd be the leader in the Angler of the Year race. And he missed by 7 ounces, was it.
Important to mention right now, Skeet Reeves, Jacob Wheeler, Avina, they're still running. Lucas.
Skeet Reese, still running.
Yep.
About 95 miles is the total water available on the fishery this week. Only the American side of the St. Lawrence River
One
available.
inside the mouth. In the mouth.
4 pounds, 3 ounces.
4-3, baby. Let's get this championship day started. Mark a fresh waypoint. Go with yellow today. It's going to be tough.
Sporer and Sprague, the first 2 on the board today. Sporer with a 1-pound lead. Back to Gerald Sporer.
Inside the mouth.
In the mouth. £3, 8 ounces.
They're just taking a little more work today, but we can catch them. They're still biting.
£7, 11 ounces for Sporer with his 2 scoreable bass. Multiple times, including this angler from the Favorite Fishing Drone Camp, Gerald Sporer. A great shot. See that hook up?
See it almost jump in the boat.
Come here. I'm gonna lose him. Got him. You see it's inside the mouth?
Yeah, it's in the mouth. £4, 10 ounces.
Man. These fish are a lot harder to get to bite, but that's another good one.
Sporer making it work. He's on top
They
by
want
1
something on
pound,
the
11
bottom, it
ounces
seems
over
like, this
Alton
morning.
Jones Jr. 5th place,
I like those
4.5
314s.
pounds, though, behind the leader, Gerald Sporer. So far, we have 7 anglers who have hit the score tracker. The knockout round winner from yesterday, Gerald Sporer, tops everybody. 12 pounds, 5 ounces, and 3 anglers still trying to catch their first scoreable bass of the day.
You can kind of get an idea of what the wind looks like. We've got Sporer here behind me, still doing the flogging, still using the flogging. Now, one thing these guys have to their advantage on this 10 to 15 mile an hour wind is they're behind kind of a set of shoals. You can see that in the background back there. The set of shoals back there helps break some of that wind up and gives them at least a little bit of a, a little bit of a wind break to try and work that flogger.
I think we've all experienced occasional blurred vision. Marty, it sounds like there's some design flaws with these floggers. We need to tighten those instruments up a little bit.
We got to get Anthony Gagliardi and Andy Montgomery, our engineers, out here on the tour to tighten these things up and make some Major League Fishing approved floggers. If Sporer, Sprague, or Roy, if one of these 3 had this area to themselves, I think they win hands down. I'm not saying any of the 3 can't win, but I think every fish in the river has swam to this area to spawn. And they've had to kind of split them up, but my God, there's a lot of fish in here.
I liked Dustin Connell's explanation for the flogger. He said it's kind of like having a glass bottom boat. Get back to Gerald Sporer.
How good she's hooked, man. I was in such a bad position. She's big. Whew, look at that one.
£4, 15 ounces.
Dude, she was hard. She was deep, and she was in a bunch of stuff. Very hard to make that one bite. It wears you out when one takes that long. The flogging, it looks easy, but it's not. Been doing this for 4 straight days, and it'll wear you out.
That is 5 for nearly 22 pounds for the leader, Gerald Sporer. Back to Sporer.
Get out of there. A lot of grass right here. I gotta be careful. Put more pressure on it than I want to.
In the mouth. £4, 9 ounces.
Just a pot of 4-pounders right here. She's been a lot quicker. Come on, baby. Let's keep this up all day.
Sporer continues to lead. 6 for Ehrler. He leads the total bass count. Gerald Sporer is the leader in the important category. The total weight, 21.13 for Sporer. He's the leader in the championship round. 9 pounds, 3 ounces with only 2 fish. And here is Gerald Sporer.
How difficult that is, how just those kind of smaller waves there. Look how much that's moving that that viewer that he's looking through. I mean, it's moving the whole flogger, but just that little hole he's trying to look through, just bouncing up and down, up, that's got to be tough.
Less than an hour remains here in the championship round. Gerald Sporer with the flogger out. Nearly 22 pounds, 5 scoreable bass. He leads Brent Ehrler by 2 pounds, 9 ounces. It's been a hot topic all week. What are these things? How do you use them? And why have they been so darn effective here on the St. Lawrence River? Let's go to flogging class with Rob Newell now. And that gets him a little closer to 100,000 because he's now in 3rd place. Here's Sporer. That is not the biggest bass of this day, though. Wheeler still has a 6.6.
I'm still holding out hope this week we're going to get north of 7.
Me too.
I really, that's the only thing that has kind of surprised me this week that we haven't yet.
In the mouth. 3 pounds, 5 ounces.
She was one of those hard ones.
So
And I
Spore
had this
goes
to
back to the
myself,
top.
but now we got company. That ain't gonna help. Nobody will win like that.
Jeff Sprague jokingly said he was going to give everybody a little head start. Back-to-back fours for Sprague, and he's in 6th. We go back to Spore.
Oh, big girl. Just give it to me.
In the mouth. £5 pounds, 6 ounces.
Woo! There's a 5-6. Oh, go back to your bed, pretty girl. Heck yeah. I got crowded in my other areas, so I hopped over real quick. I got to re-rig rods. Every rod I got is busted now.
So are about 7 bass busted. And that's over the 30-pound mark for Gerald Spore. His lead is 6 pounds plus over Brent Ehrler here in our championship round. Gerald Spore led for much of the opening period. He's in 3rd place, but he's nearly 13 pounds back.
We have watched him use a flogger to almost perfection. He has battled and battled and battled. But these guys, just they go on runs. It seems like they land in an area that's got 2 or 3 beds in a row, and then they make a run at that score tracker. Right now, Spore 13 pounds back, but I do not count him out.
Choked, but I couldn't get the hook set.
Gerald Spore.
Come on, girl. Give up.
It's in the mouth. 4 pounds, 8 ounces.
Whew. Check that sucker out. 4.8. There's so many 4-pounders in this place. Man, if a guy had this to himself, it'd be over. We're just sharing it too much. Might have to go do something else, or none of us are going to win right here. We're just going to cannibalize each other. Yesterday I was able to outfish everyone, but everything's just getting beat up. It's getting harder and harder to get fish to bite. So I might have to go do some different stuff.
Well, the leader, Alton Jones Jr., has stalled out to start this period. And the field catching up to him, including Gerald Spore, and Rob Newell during that period break was able to catch up with Gerald.
Catching up with SWAT Pro Gerald Spore. Gerald, the first time I saw you this week, I thought it was crazy that a man from Louisiana was looking down a little tube to catch smallmouth. Tell us what you got there.
So this is what we call a flogger. These fish are tight to the bottom. A lot of people say, man, you can't see that on your electronics. They're living inside of holes and rocks and holes in the grass and things. So you're not going to see them with your forward-facing sonar or anything like that. And then you can see a bright spot, but you can't tell if a fish is on it because most of them are between 7 and 10 foot. So we use this as basically a way for you to, it's like putting goggles on your head and sticking your head underwater, except you don't have to stick your head underwater. You just put this and you can look right through it, and it takes that glare off the top. of the surface, and you can see what's down there. And in practice, I went around and I did this a lot. Like I spent a whole day going around flogging fish and marking waypoints and how much I thought that fish weighed so I could prioritize them. But
why do you tape it up like that? Explain that.
So there's a couple reasons. If this was just straight orange, which it is normally, this is like waving a flag across the lake. If you're sitting there going from spot to spot and you're flogging around, if there's 10 boats in the area, they can all see that you're looking in the bedding area. So it just throws out a signal flag, so it makes it a little more inconspicuous. Plus, when you're on top of a fish, you don't want to signal him either, waving this orange thing over the top. It does block some extra light, so it helps with the vision a little bit better, but that's not the main reason. It's mostly just to tone it down because it's a little loud.
Now, a lot of people think you're from Louisiana. We know you like frogs and shallow water, but you've spent a lot of time in this kind of water in your past.
Yeah, so fishing for smallmouth was the thing I knew the least about when I first started professional fishing back in 2015. And so I had a mentor tell me, hey, you want to learn how to catch smallmouth now, not when you make it to the pros. And so I signed up for everything in the Northern Division, all the old Costa Series and stuff. Came up here, fished Champlain, loved it so much, and I pretty much stayed up here, spent my entire summer up here for the past 6 years. Because Louisiana's too hot anyway. Why would you not want to just be up here catching smallmouth? And I trained myself, and everything I didn't know about it, I tried to figure out. And now, whenever I come up north, I tend to have really good tournaments up here.
Sounds good. That sweat equity is paying off for Gerald Sporer.
Thank you, Rob. Self-taught smallmouth expert. Hard to blame him. Maybe his best point is it's hot in Louisiana this time of the year, so why not come up here and catch smallmouth?
If you're going to compete professionally, nationally, you don't fight it. I mean, you've got to be efficient at fishing for these brown fish because every tour is going to make a leg up north.
How about Gerald Sporer?
Yeah. What's wrong? Oh! What's wrong with my reel? Keep that head up. Keep that head up. Keep that head up. Jeez, it's so hard to grab.
It's in the mouth. £5, 4 ounces.
Sore. Man, how to get us closer? I know they're not letting up. This is one of those ones.
Frozen in time, Gerald Sporer.
I don't think that fish even knew it was hooked until it got to the surface.
In the mouth. £5, 5 ounces.
Something crazy on the side of him there. 5.5.
Sporer led for a good portion of the day. He was third after the first period, but he's back in 8th place now, JT.
Yeah, he got off to an absolutely outstanding start, but it just kind of, well, almost like he hit a wall, just slowed down, ran out of fish. He started to bounce around a little bit. He's fallen behind, but not too terribly far. If he can land on another group of fish, we might be able to see him work his way back up the score tracker.
In his third championship round already this season on the Bass Pro Tour. Haven't seen Gerald Sporer in a while. We check in on him. He's down in 8th place.
I mean, it's like a 10-foot fluctuation.
1 hour and 10 minutes remain.
God, that's the longest periods ever. I'm telling you.
Wonder how many of these guys that fished yesterday in the knockout round are just about to give out of gas. I mean, yesterday was big time intense.
Now they're doing it again.
I mean, that's another thing. Wheeler's had 2 days off from having to run around, reel in smallmouth, and he's just more efficient with it.
Yeah.
He's made something that's not easy look easy. Here's Gerald Sporer.
Got her in the mouth.
Yep, in the mouth. £5 pounds, 5 ounces.
Man, that's the fish I lost earlier. I had her hooked outside the mouth. I had to let her go. But I let her settle down and I came back and caught her. It's all time consuming. It's so rough out here. It's hard to, I mean, look at the boat. Everybody's soaking wet. White capping down this river right now. So just extremely hard to stay on top of a bed and flog. I promise you, it's not easy. Not the stuff out in the main river, for sure. No, that's mine.
I'll get it.
One hour left in this championship round. Gerald Sporer is in 8th place, 62 pounds, 5 ounces, a little life jacket retrieval. Flotation device secured. And onward we go. Jacob Wheeler, 16 pounds, 13 ounces, ahead of Jeff Sprague.
But now, talking about the AOY, Lucas, points-wise, 234, Sporer, 233, Junior, 231. So what these guys do in the closing moments going to appear to settle out where they're at. Lucas is 7th in the race. Spore's 9th. Alton Jones Jr. is 11th. They're going to all be in the top 5 because people in between them are obviously not in the championship round and didn't have quite as good a event.
4 pounds, 8 ounces.
Come on, let's take some money from somebody.
Favorite Fishing drone cam providing us such great shots all week. I mean, this fishery is so clear and so many elements to look at down in the water. It's just been riveting coverage.
Excuse me.
And hats off to all our camera operators too, because man,
Same thing to be said for Gerald Spore, who's having a great year. This is his 3rd top 10 in 5 events this season.
yeah, and his finish today is not going to truly tell the whole story. I think there midway through that 3rd period, Spore made a move. He got out of the area where Roy and Sprague was at, and I think he went to an area he felt like he could win it. Ended up falling back on the score tracker. 7 fish in that 3rd and final period for 25 pounds. Spore went for it, didn't get paid off for the effort, but gutsy move again, another top 10. Going to be in great shape in the AOY standings moving into the next event.
All right, everybody, just finished it up. Man, I was disappointed. I wanted to win this one real bad, but I was sharing my bed fish with too many competitors, and I should have picked up that marabou jig sooner in this area and not concentrated so much on the bed fish. I mean, I still had a great day, still caught a lot of fish, but just all the guys in the top 10 were on them really good. So I knew it was going to be hard to catch more than that guy. The wind killed me yesterday when I really blasted them. It had got nice and slick, and I could see all the fish out here, and I went around and plucked them off one by one. But today, that wasn't the situation. You had to spot lock over the bed, try to stay on top of it, use the flogger. It was just rough conditions out here. I mean, we got a big storm coming in behind us, so we need to get out of here. But thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks to SWAT, Suzuki, all my sponsors. Thanks to my family and friends. And it's another top 10. Contention for another cup. We might even locked ourselves in Red Crest, and we got a chance at Angler of the Year. So I'll see you guys at Champlain. And that one right there is special to me as well. So I'm hoping to get another top 10 at Champlain.